You know that feeling when you're doing everything right, cutting back on sugar, choosing those healthy alternatives, maybe even patting yourself on the back for making a smart choice, only to find out your stomach just isn't happy? Maybe you've been dealing with bloating, discomfort, or just a general feeling that something's off in your digestion. And here's the real kicker. What if I told you that the very thing you thought was helping you might actually be making things worse? That's right. Some of those so-called healthy sugar substitutes, the ones marketed as guilt-free and better for your blood sugar, could be quietly wreaking havoc on your gut. And for us seniors, that's especially concerning because a healthy gut isn't just about comfort, it's about immunity, energy, even keeping your mind sharp. So today, we're going to talk about what's really going on inside your body when you reach for that sugar-free cookie or that diet drink. But before we dive into this important topic, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up and comment below telling me where you're watching from. I love connecting with all of you from around the world, so now let's begin. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but my doctor said to cut back on sugar. And that's true. Too much sugar isn't good for anyone, especially as we get older. But here's the problem, many of the alternatives we've been told to use instead, they come with their own set of risks, and some of them might be even harder on your gut than the real thing. Let's start with one of the biggest offenders, artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. These have been around for decades, and you'll find them in everything from diet sodas to sugar-free candies. They promise 0 calories, no blood sugar spikes. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not so fast. Research is showing that these sweeteners can actually change the balance of bacteria in your gut, and not for the better. Think of your gut like a garden. You want a nice mix of flowers, herbs, all the good stuff. But when artificial sweeteners come in, it's like spraying weed killer on half of your plants. Suddenly, the bad bacteria start to take over, and that can lead to bloating, gas, even inflammation. And for seniors, that's a big deal because a healthy gut is linked to everything from a strong immune system to better mood and clearer thinking. But it's not just the artificial stuff. Even some natural sugar substitutes, like xylitol or erythritol, can cause problems for certain people. Sure, they might come from plants, but that doesn't always mean they're gentle on your system. Some folks find these sugar alcohols can lead to cramping or diarrhea, especially if you're eating them regularly. So what's the solution? Do we just go back to eating spoonfuls of sugar? Not exactly. The key is finding better alternatives, ones that satisfy your sweet tooth without sabotaging your gut. And the good news is, there are options out there that can help you enjoy life without the nasty side effects. But before we get into those, let's take a closer look at why your gut is so important, especially as we age. Because once you understand just how much your digestion affects your overall health, you'll see why it's worth making a few simple swaps. You've probably heard the saying, you are what you eat. But here's the truth very few people talk about, you are what you digest. Think about that for a second. It doesn't matter how healthy your food is if your gut isn't breaking it down properly, absorbing the nutrients, and keeping those bad bacteria in check. And for seniors, this is even more critical because as we age, our digestion naturally slows down. Now, let's talk about why your gut is like the control center for your entire body. It's not just about avoiding an upset stomach, though that's important too. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, both good and bad, and when they're in balance, everything runs smoothly. But when that balance gets thrown off, by things like artificial sweeteners, stress, or even certain medications, it can lead to a whole host of problems you might not even realize are connected. Ever notice that when your digestion is off, you feel more tired than usual? Or maybe your joints ache a little more, or your mind feels foggy. That's not a coincidence. Nearly 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. So if your gut bacteria are out of whack, your body has to work harder just to keep up. And let's be honest, at our age, we don't need any extra hurdles when it comes to staying healthy and active. here's where those sugar substitutes come back into the picture. Studies have found that artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose don't just pass harmlessly through your system. Instead, they alter your gut microbiome, meaning they change the mix of bacteria in ways that can promote inflammation, weaken your immune response, and even make it harder to maintain a healthy weight. And the worst part? You might not notice the damage right away. It's like a slow leak in a pipe, you don't see it until the floor is already soaked. But here's something even more surprising, some of these sugar substitutes can actually make you crave more sweets. That's right, your brain gets tricked by the sweet taste without the calories, so it keeps searching for the energy it thinks it's missing. Have you ever had a diet soda and then found yourself reaching for a snack soon after? That's not just willpower, it's biology. Now, I don't want you to walk away from this feeling discouraged. The goal here isn't to scare you, it's to empower you with the truth so you can make better choices. Because once you know what's really going on in your body, you can start making small changes that add up to big differences in how you feel. So what's the next step? Well, the first thing is to listen to your body. If you've been relying on sugar substitutes and noticing bloating, fatigue, or just a general sense that something isn't right, it might be time to experiment. Try cutting them out for a week or two and see how you feel. You might be surprised at the difference. And don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to give up sweetness altogether. There are better options out there, ones that won't sabotage your gut or leave you craving more. But before we get into those, let's take a closer look at how to spot hidden sugar substitutes in your food, because they're sneaky, they show up in places you'd never expect. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you turned over a package at the grocery store and really studied the ingredients list? If you're like most of us, you probably glance at the big bold letters on the front, sugar-free, low-calorie, and assume you're making a smart choice. But here's the thing, food companies know we do that. And that's exactly why they hide these gut-wrecking sugar substitutes in places you'd never think to look. Take yogurt, for example. You pick up a cup of light or diabetic-friendly yogurt, thinking it's a healthy snack. But flip it over, and there it is, sucralose, aspartame, or acesulfame potassium buried in the fine print. Same goes for sugar-free salad dressings, protein bars, even some brands of peanut butter. They slip these sweeteners in because they're cheap, they don't add calories, and they keep you coming back for more. But your gut? It knows the difference. And here's where it gets really tricky. Sometimes they don't even call these ingredients by their common names. Ever seen E955 or E951 on a label? That's just industry code for sucralose and aspartame. It's like they're playing hide and seek with your health. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a food scientist, but learning to spot these sneaky additives is one of the simplest ways to start healing your gut. So what should you look for? First, be wary of anything labeled sugar-free, diet, or no added sugar. That's usually where the worst offenders hide. Next, scan the ingredients for words ending in -itol, like sorbitol, maltitol, xylitol. These sugar alcohols can cause bloating and diarrhea, especially in larger amounts. And of course, watch out for the usual suspects, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin. Now, you might be thinking, if I cut all these out, what's left? That's a fair question. Because let's face it, life's too short to never enjoy something sweet. The good news is, nature provides some much better options, ones that actually contain nutrients instead of just chemicals. Take raw honey, for instance. Yes, it has sugar, but it also has enzymes that help your digestion. Or pure maple syrup. It's got minerals like zinc and manganese that support your immune system. Even fruit, in moderation, gives you fiber along with its natural sweetness. The key here isn't perfection, it's awareness. Maybe you start by swapping out one diet product this week for a real food alternative. Notice how you feel. Your gut might just thank you with better digestion, more energy, and clearer thinking. And isn't that worth more than any sugar-free cookie? But here's what really matters: you don't have to navigate this alone. Because once you understand not just what to avoid, but what to embrace for better gut health, everything gets easier. And that's exactly where we're headed next, to the foods and habits that can actually repair your gut after years of these sneaky sugar substitutes. Imagine your gut is like an old, trusted friend who's been with you through thick and thin. Over the years, maybe you haven't always treated them the best: those late-night snacks, the rushed meals, and yes, all those artificial sweeteners, thinking you were doing the right thing. But here's the beautiful thing about your body: it's never too late to make amends. Your gut has an incredible ability to heal when given the right tools. So how do we start repairing the damage? It's not about some drastic overnight change or expensive supplements. The real magic happens in simple, everyday choices, the kind that add up without feeling like a chore. Let's begin with one of the most powerful gut healers you probably already have in your kitchen: fiber. Now, I know fiber doesn't sound exciting. Your grandkids aren't begging for extra Brussels sprouts at dinner, but here's why it matters. Fiber is like a broom for your digestive system, sweeping out the bad stuff while feeding the good bacteria. And when those good bacteria thrive, amazing things happen. Studies show they help reduce inflammation, strengthen your immune system, and even produce mood-boosting chemicals. That's right, a happy gut often means a happier you. The best sources? Think colorful vegetables, especially the leafy greens. Berries with their seeds are fantastic too. Those little seeds are fiber powerhouses. And don't forget about nuts and seeds. Chia and flax seeds are superstars here. If you're not used to much fiber, start slow to avoid discomfort. Maybe add an extra vegetable to lunch today, or sprinkle some ground flax on your morning oatmeal. Now, let's talk about another gut hero: fermented foods. These are nature's probiotics, packed with live cultures that replenish your good bacteria. Yogurt is the obvious choice, but make sure it's the plain, unsweetened kind. Check the label to see it contains live active cultures. Other great options include sauerkraut, the refrigerated kind, not the shelf-stable, kimchi, or even a simple glass of kefir. Here's a tip from my own kitchen: I like to make what I call a gut healing parfait. Layer some plain Greek yogurt with a handful of berries, a sprinkle of walnuts, and just a drizzle of raw honey. It's delicious, satisfying, and does wonders for your digestion. The probiotics from the yogurt, the fiber from the berries and nuts, and just enough natural sweetness, it's the perfect trifecta. But healing your gut isn't just about what you eat, it's also about what you drink. After years of diet sodas or artificially sweetened drinks, your gut needs a break. Water is obviously best, but if you miss that fizzy sensation, try sparkling mineral water with a squeeze of lemon or lime. Herbal teas are another wonderful option. Ginger tea is particularly good for digestion. And here's something you might not expect: how you eat matters just as much as what you eat. Remember when we were kids and our parents told us to chew our food? Turns out they were onto something. Taking time to eat slowly, chewing thoroughly, actually helps your gut do its job better. It's one of those simple habits that costs nothing but makes a world of difference. Now, I know change can feel overwhelming, especially when you've been doing things a certain way for years. But here's what I want you to remember: every small step counts. Maybe today you swap out one diet soda for herbal tea. Next week, you add an extra vegetable to your dinner. These aren't restrictions, they're gifts you're giving your body. And with each positive choice, you're not just avoiding harm, you're actively healing. Because here's the truth they don't tell you in those flashy ads for sugar-free products: when your gut is healthy, cravings often take care of themselves. Energy improves. Even stubborn weight might start moving in the right direction. It's not about willpower, it's about working with your body instead of against it. Let's take a moment to appreciate how far we've come. When we started this conversation, you might have felt confused, maybe even a little betrayed, by those so-called healthy sugar alternatives. But now, you're armed with something far more powerful than any marketing claim: knowledge. The kind of real, honest information that lets you take control of your health in a way that feels right for you. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with what I call the golden rule of gut health. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. Maybe you'll still enjoy the occasional treat with artificial sweeteners, and that's okay. What matters is that now you're making conscious choices rather than accidental ones. That shift alone is life-changing. Let me share a story about my neighbor, Margaret. At 72, she'd been drinking diet soda daily for 30 years, convinced it was the smart choice. After learning about gut health, she decided to experiment, replacing her afternoon soda with sparkling water and lemon. Within 2 weeks, her lifelong bloating improved dramatically. But what really surprised her? The cravings faded. That constant urge for something sweet in the evenings? Gone. Her body was finally getting the signals it needed. This isn't about deprivation, it's about rediscovering real satisfaction. When you nourish your gut with wholesome foods, something beautiful happens. Flavors become more vibrant. A ripe strawberry tastes sweeter than any artificially flavored candy. Dark chocolate with just a hint of natural sweetness satisfies more than any sugar-free substitute ever could. It's like cleaning a dirty window. Suddenly, you can see and taste life more clearly. Here's my challenge to you. For the next week, become a detective of your own body. Notice how you feel after meals. Pay attention to your energy levels. Keep it simple, no complicated trackers or journals needed. Just check in with yourself like you would with an old friend. That awareness alone will guide you better than any strict diet ever could. Before we say goodbye, I want you to promise me one thing: be kind to yourself. Changing lifelong habits takes courage. Some days will be easier than others, and that's perfectly normal. What matters is that you've taken the first step, the most important step, by educating yourself. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you noticed changes when cutting out artificial sweeteners? What natural alternatives have you discovered that you love? Your experiences could inspire others on this same journey. If this conversation helped you, do me a favor, hit that like button and share it with a friend who might benefit. Our community grows stronger with every person who learns to question the healthy labels and listen to their body instead. Remember, friends, aging isn't about limitations, it's about wisdom. And now, with this knowledge about your gut health, you're living proof that it's never too late to feel better than you thought possible. Here's to your health, your happiness, and to many more years of savoring life's sweetness, the real kind.